So we know how Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc pit in Star Wars canon. We saw that in the Book of Boba Fett. Let's talk about how he escaped it in the expanded universe. Spoiler alert, it's kind of dumb. To talk about how he escaped the Sarlacc pit, the first question we have to ask is, which time? Because he fell in there twice. The first time Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc pit in Star Wars Legends, it was pretty unceremonious. Like, the Sarlacc just burped him out. Like, he just burped and he flew up in the sky, landed really hard, lost his memory, and it was a whole thing. If you want to read the whole story, this is back in Marvel Star Wars number 81. Yes, this is the original run of the Star Wars comics. Essentially, Jawas find him. They think he's a droid. He wakes up and can't remember anything. He ends up helping out Han and Leia. It's really weird and awkward. He eventually realizes who they are, and they crash the sandcrawler, and he falls off the top of the sandcrawler back into the Sarlacc's mouth again. I know, I said it was dumb. Let's talk about how he got out the second time, and it's infinitely weirder. A lot of people will point you towards a book called The Mandalorian Armor. It was part of the Bounty Hunter Wars book number 1, and basically when it starts out, Boba Fett is found by Dengar. Doesn't explain how he got out. And yeah, this is also going to get crazy. So there's a short story called A Barf Like That, and it's part of the Tales from Jabba's Palace book. Now, this comes from 1995, and the 90s were a weird time for Star Wars books. Basically, while inside of the Sarlacc for the second time, Boba Fett makes telepathic connections to the first victim of the Sarlacc and is having a conversation and telling stories with him and several other of the Sarlacc's victims over the years. He's being held in place by tentacles, and the thing is slowly eating him, but it's planning to digest him over 1,000 years. He notices that the stories that he's telling, sometimes it'll make it loosen its tentacles, sometimes it'll tighten it, but he can affect the mood of the Sarlacc, and he takes advantage of this. In the end, he realizes the secret of the Sarlacc. He's not actually talking to other victims. He's talking to the Sarlacc itself, and it's talking in the voice through the memories of those people, and he pisses it off. It contracts around his jetpack. His jetpack blows up, and that frees him off of the wall. He then starts firing grenades inside of it to blow a hole in it. The whole thing collapses, and he's able to escape out of the hole that he just made. But the Sarlacc doesn't die. Boba Fett crawls out of the hole. That's when the book, The Mandalorian Armor, comes into play with Dengar, and he takes care of him, nurses him back to health. But he will return to the Sarlacc in the future. When he does come back in the future, he gets his ship Slave One really close to the Sarlacc. And by getting really close, he's able to reestablish that telepathic connection and kind of talk to it. And what he does is he angles Slave One up to the sky so that he can burn it with the jets of the ship, just to torture it, just so that he can hear it scream in his mind. But he doesn't kill it, and he vows to come back to torture it more. Anyways, it's a wild story. That is how Boba Fett escaped from the Sarlacc, both times in the expanded universe. Let me know if you like me going over Legends information and details, and if there's anything specific that you want me to cover. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things. I really appreciate it, and may the Force be with you.